Everyone, it is currently the 30th of March 2015. Of course, the main topic today and the main topic through the rest of the week is going to be Typhoon Maysak out here. You see it here on this Google Earth satellite imagery. There's our storm system. Definitely can't miss it. But look at the next 5 days, continuing to track off there towards the west and eventually heading there towards the Philippines over a holiday weekend. That's going to be one of the main topics as we look ahead into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Not only because you're having an impact from a potential typhoon, but a lot of people are going to be traveling. A lot of people are going to be out on ferries, which in all honesty, they can tend to be rather dangerous in the Philippines, especially when we have foul weather accompanying that. So I think that's going to be one of the main impacts of this storm system as we head into the coming weekend. But let's break down what we are seeing, at least at this time out here, with Typhoon Maysak. All right, let's take a look actually at the imagery here, and what we're going to be looking at the infrared imagery is our storm system still tracking off here towards the west according to the latest Japan Meteorological Agency warning. It's moving at about 25 kilometers per hour, so moving at a fairly decent pace. But one thing you do want to pick up here on the infrared imagery is just look along the northern periphery of our storm system. It has an abundance of outflow continuing to push off there towards the north. That is those lungs I'm talking about. I mentioned in yesterday's update that allows for further intensification. But another thing you do want to mention is a little bit back here towards the west. You see this area in here? It's rather clear. That is going to play a major role in our storm system as it tracks here farther here towards the west. And this is another feature on the satellite imagery. We have a low coming in out of southeastern China. That's flaring some thunderstorms up there. That is going to be playing a major role on the forecast track of our storm and how it will impact the Philippines over the next several days. Keep those things in mind. Let's take a look at the satellite imagery here from the MTSat. This is the visible imagery. Key thing we did see here today on Monday is that eye becoming much more transparent. You can just see that really wrapping up. The eye wall becoming much more organized, and that's what we're expecting as this does continue to intensify. Infrared imagery also continuing to see that. Key thing I picked up on infrared, and Josh Morganman actually pointed this out to me from iCyclone. We had a dry air back towards the west, I just mentioned, so you can see some dry air intrusion really working its way into our storm system here on Monday. And what I mean by that, look at the cloud tops on the eastern periphery of it, much colder than the western periphery. This is not completely symmetrical. That is why we're not seeing rapid intensification today, upwards of super typhoon intensity, which you might see actually occur in the months of August and September. There's a lot more moisture out here, a lot more warm sea surface temperatures for these storms to work with, and less vertical wind shear. So right now, you do have to remember it is late March, early April. Storm's not really known for getting that big in the Western Pacific this time of year, so that may be one factor, and we're continuing to see that dry air, which is good news. Very good news, actually, there for the islands of Yap back here towards the west. Take a look at the total precipitable imagery. This is microwave imagery. You can see our swirl continuing to build up with that dry air just in the western periphery. Another thing you do want to take away from this imagery is just towards the east of that low, another little low starting to pop up. Are keeping an eye on that, putting it on the back burner right now, but there is a potential for another storm system to form up. Could impact those of you out into Guam, but it's not going to be until next week if it does occur. Latest warnings from the Guam National Weather Service, the official warning agency out here. This is the JTWC track, by the way. Guam National Weather Service just mirrors it because it's an American territory, so they just mirror the American output. Take a look at this, though. We still have those typhoon warnings in place, actually, in parts of eastern Yap, the Yap state. Yap itself, the islands here with about 11,000 people on it, currently under typhoon watches at this time. And as I mentioned earlier, Yap is really going to be taking the brunt of this storm system. Let's actually take a little bit of a closer look here at the Google Earth imagery with the track just moving towards the north of the island. Key thing is that's actually some fairly good news, because if we've seen the track come just here towards the south of Yap, that would put you in the right front quadrant. Those winds would be coming onshore and could cause some serious storm surge, especially along the eastern seaboards. But right now, if this does come along that northern periphery, those winds should be Well, at first coming in from the north and then eventually wrapping around from the northwest. Still going to be typhoon strength. You can even see that typhoon strength line according to the JTWC does encompass parts of the Yap here, but the 50-knot winds line even extends out well over the island, so you're going to be seeing some destructive winds come out from that. Let's actually take a look at the meteor imagery, and we can even zoom right in on the island here as well. Remember, this is the ECMWF output, but it really is in line what we are seeing there with JTWC and JMA. Continuing to have this storm system move right overhead Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. ECMWF kind of has it moving just north of the island, but that would still put you inside the eye wall. So what I did mention about the fact that it could move just north, that would be a better scenario. Either way, we're still going to be seeing some damaging winds. And I've been saying it for several days now. You have time to prepare, so if you are out here, but should be preparing now. Definitely want to be boarding up your windows and maybe getting a good idea of where a local evacuation center is there. About 11,000 people on the islands of Yap here, and it does look like there is a very serious threat of a damaging storm system pushing overhead here Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we got about 24 hours before tropical storm strength winds at least start to come in. Actually, a little bit less than 24 hours. You can actually see here on Tuesday morning, Guam already starting to see those winds kick up farther there towards the north. And once you start to see these colors in the orange move over Yap, that's really indicating those tropical storm strength winds. So we're looking at about a Tuesday late morning into early afternoon time frame. All right, so really this is going to continue to linger here throughout the day on Wednesday, moving right over the island. I think as far as any impact with severe weather with Typhoon Maysak, even for the Philippines, Yap's definitely going to take the biggest brunt. Should stay well north of Palau. Actually, Palau not really going to be seeing too much foul weather out of this. And then as we continue to scroll ahead, let's look at Friday, and then eventually into Saturday, our storm starts to move towards the Philippines. Let's go back here to the forecast track from the Japan Meteorological Agency, at least at this time, and they're continuing to expect this to go on that westerly path right over Yap and eventually moving there towards Visayas. And this is something to keep in mind. I've been mentioning this with people all day. You have your center line. Yes, it does pull off here towards Leyte and Samar, but what we are seeing in the extended range is still a lot of uncertainty. So I would pay more attention to the cone of air than the center line. I know that is quite frightening if it's pointed right at you right now, but let's actually compare it up with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center. Remember, this is where JMA just was. That's where JTWC is expecting the storm system to go, and then we can even compare it up with some numerical outputs. I'll put it on the screen here in a second. But JTWC, at least at this time, expecting a max of 120, gusting to 145 knot winds, as it does near Yap there. Expecting it to weaken through Thursday. Remember that dry air I mentioned earlier on, and that passing trough towards the north? There you go. That's the final outcome I was talking about there. Those are things typhoons do not like. Here's those comparisons with the numerical models as well, by the way, and why I keep on saying and I keep on stressing. Look at the cone of air, because here's your NavGem model. Look at that big spread. This down here, this is the ECMWF model. What you have back here towards the west, you have the CMC and the GFS numerical outputs. When you get a model run, it's not just one run. It's about 20 to maybe 50 runs, and then they average it together. And then the final output you get, and you typically see with the pressure kind of running across the screen, we've just seen there with the ECMWF, that's the final output. But as a meteorologist, we tend to look at these, especially with storms, because it gives you an idea of how confident is that model. It's confident all the way up through Yap, but that passing trough back towards the north, as our storm system goes by, and actually I'll put up the upper level winds on the screen, as it starts to enter the Philippine Sea, we're not sure, at least at this time, how much of an interaction this passing trough will have with our storm system down here towards the south, and that subtropical ridge back towards the east. Will it hold it farther towards the south? Somebody in the Philippines will be impacted by typhoon strength winds likely. How weak will this get? That's a big question. It depends on how much dry air, but it also depends on how these factors are going to play. If Visayas is impacted, or those of you across eastern Luzon get impacted. For now, we're going to continue to track this storm system, of course. and we're going to continue to keep you updated here at westernpacificweather.com. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them down there in the comment box below. We always appreciate your feedback as we continue to watch this storm system. Don't also forget to check out meteorologist Mike Adcock's update. He puts out a really great forecast and combined with the Dvorak analysis, and it's actually way above my head and some of the stuff he does talk through. Also, weathercaster Pat, he's been putting out some updates there specifically for the Philippines. Don't forget to check out what Adonis is saying. Donald as well has been putting out updates with us, and Jonathan O also been running some of the Winsome models. You can find that on the webpage and also at our Facebook page. It's our in-house model. I should have put it on here on the screen, but if you do go check out the website, I'm sure you can find it there as well. So stay safe out there, guys, and as always, thanks for watching.